Hi, Mike DePung here, and it's been about a week, I think, since I've been with you. I am still working on getting my um, my manuscript in publishable form. I hope that will be done very soon. I thought it would be done last week, but alas, that did not happen because of my technical ineptitude, and I'm struggling with that a little bit. And I know what people say. Just Google it, get it, find it on YouTube, watch a video. Well, you know what? I've done that, and it's still, there are things that I think the people who make those videos don't realize how totally inept I am. And they forget to say things that they probably think, oh, surely I don't have to say that because nobody would skip that. Yeah, I do. And then the other thing that I often hear from people is, well, just go ahead and do it. Try it. You can always undo it. You can always fix it. Yeah, not always, evidently. Maybe for somebody who knows what they're doing, but not for me. So the point is, I am not, I am not forsaking anything. I will figure it out, and maybe somebody can help me. But I'll get there. And in the meantime, I wanted to, and I didn't do this yesterday because of all the things that come out. I would encourage you to look this up for yourself. It's my book that I wrote called Martin, Maya, and Me, A Brief Exploration of Social Injustice. Even though I published it near the end of 2017, it's still very, very relevant because I look at Dr. King's letter from the Birmingham jail and I do a little bit of that. By the way, the book is not that long. It's only 95 pages, I think, or something like that. It's not that long. And so I obviously just look at bits, but they are interwoven with my thoughts and my interpretation and my experiences too, especially from when I was a teenager. So the point is this. I also look at in the book, I look at Dr. Maya Angelou's On the Pulse of Morning, and that poem has directly to do with what have been talking about concerning trees. Um, and she takes three elements of nature, three um, parts of nature, a rock, a river, and a tree. And basically, she shows she knew how to understand the kinds of things I've been speaking of, the kinds of things I write about that I've created in the poetry that will be forthcoming soon in The Trees Whisper Wisdom. And I thought I might just take a very brief moment here to read a few of the things that I wrote when she comes to um, the final part of her poem, where she has already gone through the river and the rock, and now she speaks from the tree perspective. She hears the tree and relays what the tree has to say. And I would like to read just a little bit of this. The transition into the voice of the tree flows smoothly. Our heart energy resonates with spirit that is infused in the voices of nature. The tree invites each of us to plant yourself beside me, here beside the river. We can hear those things like rocks and trees and rivers speak to us through our heart energy that is one with their heart energy. For the same spirit of love that makes them, that has created them, is in our heart. Again, though, we are the only parts of nature that have a choice of ego or heart. And unfortunately, ego has spoken far too long and in far too many um, areas that we could have, should have chosen heart. And so before the tree gives the reason, however, a significant and long parenthesis is added. Each of you, descendant of some passed on traveler, has been paid for. The implication here takes the form of a debt that required settlement, a debt incurred by ego, which we allowed. When we ignore heart, we defy the laws of nature and lose a vital connection to the universe and to nature itself. Nature gives examples of spirit in all things, the same spirit that is heart in each of us. We hold within us the higher frequencies of life, those that tend to peace, love, creativity, innovation, purpose, and happiness. And nature knows this and seeks to evoke these from us. Heart within each is the payment, for heart recognizes injustice. Heart energy moves us to show love and establish equity and justice. The tree continues as she calls on indigenous people who named all the trees, but were driven from their lands by ego controllers, by the same sort who claim that the almighty quest for wealth and power trumps everything. The tree calls on indigenous people, you Pawnee, Apache, and Seneca, you Cherokee nation who rested with me, then forced on bloody feet. We should be aware. If we force anyone, any group, away from their spiritual and natural heritage, we act in ego. However, if we have in the past, we may remember and toggle to heart energy, for all of us have been paid for. We have heart. That means that we can look to the elements of nature. We can look to hear the messages of trees and rocks and rivers, and we can we can help heal the trauma that ego has caused. We have that opportunity. And I hope that my little volume of poetry will give you, when you see it, when you have it before your eyes, will help you to rest, to pause, to reflect, and to think, how can I live in heart energy now? What is my heart saying? What do I hear the trees say? And how do I respond to that? Hopefully, it's in love and peace and maybe curiosity to continue on to propagate love and peace. So I've got some more in there, but I want to go on to this because the tribes were uh, forced to leave their lands. They were desperate for gain. Or there are those who forced them out were desperate for gain, starving for gold. Ego doesn't hesitate to destroy, abuse, or even kill for those things that have nothing to do with the deepest yearnings of us all. We don't come here to control. We don't come here to make other people believe and think like us. We come here to know the things that are of spirit, that are of the universe, that we get to experience right here in a mortal body, right sitting at our desks or in the backyard or wherever. We can know happiness and peace and contentment and love and joy and all the things, innovate, create. We come here for those things and then to have relationships with others that have the same heart of love. We need to train ourselves through heart energy to look at others in that light. Avarice produces a debt. So the tree says these named groups arrived on a nightmare, praying for a dream. To some of these, to some of these groups, money and gain became the dream. It was from ego, and enslaving and oppressing others proved to be useful tools. However, the ends never justify the means. No one gets to achieve their dreams, no matter how horrible their previous situation was, by oppressing, destroying, or killing others or nature herself. So when the Puritans came, or the whites came from Europe, and they said, we claim this land. We just arrived in a boat, and now it's ours, which is what a certain president is saying about another certain land that, oh, what? Denmark gets to claim Greenland just because they arrived there in boats. Oh, what? White Europeans get to claim the this continent just because we arrived there in boats? You see, that's not heart. That's not heart. You don't oppress and kill and say, well, we're going to make this a better place. We're going to make this our place. Witness the Pilgrims, Puritans, and others who came for relief from what they sensed as religious oppression, only for them and their subsequent generations to oppress and commit genocide against indigenous peoples. I'm skipping down a little bit. The tree offers the invitation. Here's what tree says. Here's what we can hear in the midst of all this that's going on, in the midst of our own lives and perhaps our own turmoil. Root yourselves beside me. I am the tree planted by the river, which will not be moved. Heart energies of highest frequencies don't change and don't give out when times are tough. Nature reflects that. So, Maya Angelou heard the tree. She heard a rock. She heard a river. She saw the history of humanity and she evaluated it from the standpoint, from the viewpoint of the spirits that are in rocks and rivers and trees, and understood that that same spirit resides in us. And all we have to do is say, I want to plant myself here beside you, with you, in heart energy of love. Again, if you don't have this, you can order it. You can get it as an ebook. I'll put the link below. You can get it as an ebook, or you can get it in paperback copy. Um, in the meantime, I hope you keep waiting for my book, The Tree Whisper, for my other book, The Trees Whisper Wisdom. Until next time, love and peace.